My name is Colette Cotter and I'm shop manager in O'Mahony's Booksellers in Limerick since 1997. We've got involved in a lot more festivals around. I suppose the Limerick Festival has been one that we have done, I suppose, since I started. And every year we sell books at that event and promote the authors. So it's been very successful for us and we're delighted to be part of it. I'm a sporadic reader. If I find a book that I like, I'll devour it over 2 days. And then I might go for a week without reading. Like, I'm a big crime fanatic, which is a bit worrying. I read it an awful lot. I can't watch it on TV, but I can read it. And I love cookbooks as well. But I suppose crime, and I suppose more recently, I've started to get into biography, which I was never into biography. And I got a copy of the Mary McAleese and I'm thinking, God, I actually like this. I'm surprised because I'm not really a biography. Now there's a few, all right, that I do intend to read, like the Barack Obama I would love to read. I read the Michelle Obama. I suppose that's my first big biography that I actually read from start to finish, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. So I suppose I have been branching out a little bit more, out of my comfort zone. Fiction would definitely be in my comfort zone. So sometimes you just need a good read to vary it. And I would read a good few kids' books as well. We get in a good few proof copies, and I have 2 children myself. So I tend to read those to make sure content is okay. And I have to say some of the kids' books are much better than the adult books in some cases, This year is a tremendous year for book publishing. There have never been so many books published at this part of the year because of the original closure in March. An awful lot of books were postponed. So now we're at a stage where we have double the number of books this Christmas than last Christmas. So we have a huge challenges at the moment fitting all of the books. But as a result, the range is just phenomenal. Like, it's just incredible. Instead of having a few hundred trade paperbacks, we have probably nearly 1,000. Just the volumes are enormous. So you have some very good books then getting lost then, and that's the challenge for book readers. When they come into O'Mahony's, they call it the sea of books. And, how do you find the one book that you want, So it can be quite interesting, But staff are great. Like, we do an awful lot of recommending, and people say, well, I love this book, and we say, well, I love that book, so you like this one. And we do a lot of that kind of thing. And we also have a new, well, it's not new, we've done it for a number of years, but I suppose this is the first year we've actually started to promote it properly, is we do a book a month. So people sign up for a book a month, they give it as a gift. And basically a person could get a fiction title every month for either 6 months or a year. So an awful lot of people have definitely got, instead of just buying a voucher, they're buying the book a month so that somebody they have something every month. Especially, it's very popular now with children who can't go home to their parents as regularly. So they're getting something every month that reminds the parent that the child has thought of them and as a gift. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. Yeah, there definitely would be different books being sold. I think, and I suppose that's myself included, we're reading, if we're spending more time reading reviews, or you'll hear something on the radio and before it would just go in one ear and out the other, whereas people now have time, they're sitting at home, they have time, they're not going out. So they're saying, actually, God, I heard now, like the Gabriel Byrne is a very good example. The quantity we would normally sell of that would be quite small, whereas he's been in the media and people are at home and they serve, and myself included. I think, geez, that's a really interesting story. But sometimes we're too busy because you're out, you're doing different bits and pieces. You don't have time to think about these things, and we're getting an awful lot of phone queries now to the shop. But it's obviously people at home listening to the radio. There's an awful lot more thought going into what people are buying. The following books are going to be the big books for Christmas, but obviously as new books are published, more will become available, so that list does change. So I'd suggest to people to call into the O'Mahony's Booksellers, to call into the front of the shop. All the new titles are in the front, so you'll see the latest and the best in that area. For the adult, Old Ireland in Colour. It's a beautiful picture of a lot of black and white pictures around Ireland there. It's fabulous. And then the Luke O'Neill book, Never Mind the Buzzcocks. That has been one of the biggest. These would be our top 5. And Champagne Scandal, the book about John Delaney by Mark Teague, and then Mary Cassidy, the former state pathologist, Beyond the Tape is flying, and then Graham Norton, his other books did very well. His new one is Homestretched, that's doing very well as well. And then Barack Obama, Promised Land, and then I suppose the big surprise one from a publishing point of view, there's no surprise in those, but I suppose the big publishing surprise would be the Richard Osmond, Thursday Murder Club. It's a light crime, but not a gory crime. One you could recommend to anyone, but it's a really nice, nice end. It's a nice book, and a lot of us read it, and as a result, we obviously got more in, but we just, we've sold a lot of it because it's a very easy book to recommend. And then the new local Limerick one done by the City Council, Are You Going Uptown, is a beautiful hardback book at €20. It's absolutely beautiful. There's lovely pictures of old Limerick. It's really lovely. And then there's some really nice nature books. I suppose that's another thing from lockdown. Nature, we've never sold so many. We sold out of bird books during the lockdown. Because people were at home looking out in their garden. And the same with the gardening, they sold extremely well. And there's some lovely nature books, Irish nature books this year, Wildwood's Irish Nature Year. Okay, and then for children, there are a huge number of newly published books. There's a lot of more Irish books this year, or maybe it just seems a little bit more obvious this year. Gill this year have a tremendous number of both adult and children's, but in the children's they brought out a great Irish farm book. Now it does look, it's a picture book, it's this size, so some people think it's a younger child, but it's actually more technical, it's more a 9+ book. But that's selling extremely well. And then David Walliams, he really has been instrumental in encouraging an awful lot of children to read. And while some parents, some of his books are a bit mischievous, they're very entertaining and kids love them. So his new book, Codename Bananas, is flying, and we wouldn't expect anything else. And the same with Jeff Kenny, Daria Wimpy Kid. These really have been great books to encourage children who wouldn't be interested in reading to read. So it has been great. And then I suppose our own Judy Curtin brought out a new book, which we did a virtual launch for. Lily Steps Up, and then there are a lot of female orientated books, break the mold, encouraging women to play a more prominent role in society. Things like Girls Play Too. There's some very good books there. And then J.K. Rowling brought out a book, Ichabod, that's selling very well. And then Peter Connolly, The Dead Zoo. The list is endless. I'd recommend to people to pop in, go upstairs and have a browse around. Now, obviously, we're going to be busy between now and Christmas, but I would think early mornings. We'll be open 10 until 5:15. We're going to be open Sunday, 12:30 to 5:30. And the best thing to do would be to pop in or ring. Grania is our children's book buyer. She can be contacted by email or phone. We also have a children's Instagram, and you get, a kind of a flavour of ideas and things like that. But there's always a member of staff in to help, so I'd suggest you pop in.